Unacademy. Let's crack it.
Hi, welcome to Pani with Pavan session. As Dipankar knows all these things. As part of this Pani with Pavan session, Pavan Kumar IAS, in collaboration with Unacademy, is bringing all top rankers in the UPSC examination. They'll be sharing their experiences regarding their preparation as well as their present job also. We will be taking the questions from the students also. We have received hundreds of questions regarding the preparation and everything else. Today, we have with us Dipankar, a 42nd ranker in last year's UPSC Civil Service examination. Let me first introduce him. He has done graduation in mathematics and computing. Then he worked in the private sector for 1 year. Then he started preparing for UPSC examination. He got into IPS, and then last year he got into IAS. He worked in Kerala IPS cadre. Now, right now, he's working as a IAS officer in his home state, Jharkhand. And incidentally, he's working in the same constituency wherein Jharkhand Chief Minister also comes from. So obviously, he's extremely busy. And I sincerely I would like to express my thanks to Dipankar for sparing us time, in spite of the fact that he's extremely busy with his job. So, Dipankar, let me start with the question that is there in the minds of all of our students. First and foremost, you have worked in IPS. You are also working as an IAS officer. So, what kind of difference you have seen between both these services? Both of them are elite services, undoubtedly the most important civil services in the country. And you have you are fortunate to experience both these services. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir, for that generous introduction. At the outset, I would say that both of these services are very important to keep our nation. They both are all India services to keep and hold our nation together. The IPS is a specialized service. In public administration, also, you will find a lot of debate between specialist and generalist. So the IPS works like a department. So there is this police department, and the core objectives are law and order and internal security. So wherever there is an eaglet of law and order or internal security, be it in the district police or CBI or IB or BSF, CRPF, the IPS is there. And that way it specializes a lot in these two areas. The IAS, on the other hand, has a very wide spectrum. Now, to compare them is not fair because both of them are very important. Generalist and specialist both are very important to run a country, such a big country like ours. The IAS has a very wide spectrum. So anything starting from education to rural development to land revenue, law and order, magistracy, electrification, irrigation, everything under the sun comes under the scope of IAS. So that way it becomes very wide scope, but the expertise also gets diluted, especially at the initial level, and as people progress, they normally tend to specialize in some or the other area, but the expertise is diluted, and it is a very general service kind of thing. It's not a department oriented service.
Yeah, okay, let me put you in a slightly, I would say sensitive situation, right? You have been in IPS, you are also working in IAS right now. Where do you get maximum amount of job satisfaction? You are free to answer this question, or you can pass it.
So I will answer this question. The job satisfaction, I would say in the IAS is slightly more than in the IPS, because although when you are working as an IPS, when I was there in Kerala, we were handling cases, I was investigating cases which involved people who were in a lot of distress. So, but so it's like a utilitarian concept. The relief you can give to people in IPS is limited. You have very important 6-7 cases under you. But right now, when I'm working as an IAS, I have been working in the state level oxygen task force. The amount of relief I could give to so many people who are in dire need of oxygen cylinders or hospitals, or even the district, the vaccination drive, that matters a lot. So the satisfaction at the end of the day, I would say it depends from person to person, but in my humble opinion, the IAS does have a upper hand in that.
So Dipankar, one more thing here is that we have a large number of Hindi audience also. So you can make it bilingual. You know, you can speak in both English as well as Hindi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let me go to the next question. You have worked in Kerala. You also are working in your home state, Jharkhand. Two completely different states. As we study in public administration, comparative public administration, right? So make a comparison.
See, as we talk about comparative, ecology is very different of what we do in Kerala and what we do in Jharkhand. So if we talk about Jharkhand, it's in my district especially, it's a huge tribal population, which was not the case in Kerala. B, the literacy level, the level of education is really not up to the mark in Jharkhand, which was not in Kerala. C, Jharkhand has very peculiar land laws. The tribal land cannot be sold. No one else can buy it. So that, in a way, in a sense, protects the tribal identity, but also puts roadblocks or speed breakers in the process of development. So which is why Kerala urbanizes very fast, because industries can be set up, or for various other reasons also. That is also not there in Jharkhand. And lastly, the local bodies in Kerala are really well functioning. So you would see that a lot of the process is democratically decentralized. But in the Jharkhand, the administration is still very top heavy. For historical reasons, it has remained so. The British, when the Santhal rebellion, ever since the days I'm working in a Santhal district, there are 6 typical Santhal districts in Jharkhand, and I'm assigned to one of them. So from the days of Santhal rebellion, the administration in these areas, for very historical reasons, have been very top heavy, because the British were of the intention or motive that these people are rebels, so to say. So we have to control them from above while giving them a semblance of independence and freedom also. That culture has continued in Jharkhand. That culture was not there in Kerala. Maybe Kerala didn't have something like a Santhal rebellion or a Kol rebellion back in the days of British. But here the Santhal rebellion was very deadly and very bloody. And still in districts, you can find remnants of that.
Yeah, I think yeah, you know, you have explained it beautifully. And if I ask you more, you know, my position will be in danger.
No, sir,
right?
you are
doing such a great, very good job of explaining comparative public administration in such a practical manner that, you know, my job will be in danger. Okay, but let me go a little bit further. You are from Jharkhand, you know, basically, you know, eastern part of the country. Kerala is southernmost part of the country. Did you find cultural differences coming in the way of your functioning? Language is different, food habits are different, and culture is different completely.
Yes, sir, it is difficult. Although I am from Jharkhand, but for the most part, I grew up in Delhi. My schooling as well as my college was from Delhi, and even my first job. But originally, my family is in Hazaribagh, so that's a district in Jharkhand. The culture shock is, of course, there. When you go to Kerala, let's say if you're working as a police officer, the case diary is written in Malayalam, the FIRs are written in Malayalam, all the lower court work is done in Malayalam. The High Court works in English, but the High Court also works in Malayalam at times. And people have pride in their language. So there would be instances where they would deliberately want to stick to Malayalam, even though they are comfortable in English or Hindi, and which is not a bad thing. Everyone should take pride in the language. So that cultural shock is, of course, there. And secondly, one thing which I would say working in Kerala was very advantageous for me was that once you are an outsider in a state, you get a lot of freedom. You don't know who the local ward member is, who the local mayor is, who the local MLA. There are 4 MLAs in my district right now. I don't remember how many there were in Kozhikode where I was working. And so so there are no strings attached. You have no baggage. You work with a clear mind. When you go to your home state, people have all sorts of aspersions about you, maybe about your caste, maybe about your upbringing, maybe about your parents' affiliations or the affiliations of your relatives. They might be associated with someone, somewhere, someplace. And all these people will seem to have a preconceived notion about you. And once you go to your home state, people would want to ask or extract more favors from you also, because they think that he's one of our own, he'll do it for us. But once you're in Kerala, outsiders will always have a hesitancy in asking them. And that's the core motive of All India Service. So that you send outsiders who work with a neutral and impartial mind and give what is required for the development of the nation. That's the whole motive of the All India Service.
Okay. Let me continue with the discussion on these services only. Where do you get more job satisfaction? Working in a developed state like Gujarat or a relatively backward state like Jharkhand?
Sir, I haven't worked in Gujarat to say, but I have my batchmates in Gujarat, and Gujarat. Although, see, when we sir, it's something which I have come to realize earlier also, and now I can see it very clearly, even in Jharkhand. When we say a developed state like Gujarat, it means small pockets of development. Even when we say a developed state like Jharkhand, not a developed state like Jharkhand, Jharkhand also does have small pockets of prosperity, be it Jamshedpur, the Tata City, or Bokaro Steel Plant, or Ranchi, or Adityapur, these big industrial areas, or some big industrial and mining districts. Jharkhand also has pockets of prosperity. So the challenge is still there. Unless you are in a completely urbanized setup like New Delhi, where the challenges are of a different nature, the role of development is still there in Gujarat or in Jharkhand. Gujarat, it changes to the tune is that the corporate sector also through its CSR funding and through various other linkages, the civil society, the NGOs are more proactive there as compared to Jharkhand. So I wouldn't be able to comment specifically how it changes because I haven't worked in such a place, but of course the development challenges are in both the places.
Okay, now, you are posted as right now, what is your designation? Sub-collector right now?
It's known as assistant collector come assistant district magistrate.
Yeah, because right now you are undergoing training, right?
Yes.
So, what is your job experience till now? How was it?
I came to work as an assistant collector only last month. Before that, I was attached with the state secretariat and there was a state level oxygen task force. So I was working because it was Corona times and it was the peak of second wave when I was working in the task force. As an assistant district collector, it's basically as someone who is undergoing training in the district. I feel that your job is to learn and observe. You should not be in a hurry to do things because you will find time to do things. This is the time for learning. So normally what I would do is that I would fix up my appointments with various departments of the government, their field offices or their offices in the district headquarters. I would go and meet them. I would look at their legacy, what's known as guard files here, Rakshit Sanchika, they call it in Hindi. So that contains a collection of all important circulars. I would look at their budgeting. I would look at how their staff are recruited, what is the strength of the staff, how the department functions. And so that would give me a brief introduction about how the department actually functions. If that department has a strong ground level presence, let's say the agriculture department, or let's say the Anganwadi department, it has a very strong ground level presence. So I would go and visit those centers. I would go and visit an Anganwadi center, or I would go and visit LAMPs, which are extension bodies of the agriculture department, or the Nagar Panchayat or the block Panchayat, and see these days Gram Sabha isn't happening because of Corona. But when things improve, we will also have Gram Sabha and all. We have an election coming up, but the local functioning is sort of disrupted these days.
Right. When did you decide to prepare for a civil service examination and why?
When is an easier question. Why is a more difficult question. I graduated in 2015. And I was working in private sector for almost a year. 2016, somewhere around February, March, I quit that job. And that was when I started preparing for civil services. I failed in this examination in 2016, 17, and in 18, I got selected. And in 19, I got selected again. Why? Because I don't want to demean any particular kind of job, but there was a certain kind of monotony which was setting up in my everyday schedule. So it would be the same thing. I would go to the office, carry my laptop bag, work there, come back. That variety, that challenge, I felt I had more potential, and it was simply getting wasted there. And it's a shame if you don't live up to your entire potential. You should explore your entire potential, whatever pushes you to go ahead. And maybe that job was not challenging enough for me, and maybe it was slightly monotonous for me, and maybe because my family had an inclination towards civil services. My father is a retired civil servant, so all these three factors cumulatively were responsible for me choosing this making this career decision.
That's a very good point you have made. Job satisfaction.
Yes,
that's a very good point. So let us come back to the specifics here. We will talk about three different aspects here. First one is your preparation for general studies. Second one is for optional public administration, and third one is other related questions related to preparation, psychological aspects and everything. So let us start with your preparation for general studies, preliminary examination. And how many attempts you have given for this examination, and when did you clear? And if you have not cleared, what could be the reasons?
So in total, I wrote 4 attempts,
Right.
out of which I cleared this examination twice, once in 2018 and once in 2019. 2016, I could not clear the prelims. 2017, I did clear the prelims, but I could not clear the mains. And 2018 and 19, I got final selection. What I felt for prelims was that, so NCERTs are the basic books when you start preparing for prelims. Normally class 9th onwards, or some people would say class 7th or 6th onwards, but I went from class 9th onwards. But the point is that everyone is preparing NCERT, and there is a limited amount of information in that book. So what happens is that everyone sort of ends up having the same amount of depth and knowledge. And then UPSC has sort of evolved and grown. It knows that NCERT is something, if we directly ask questions from NCERTs, everyone will be able to answer. And somehow during my second year of preparations, I understood that yes, it is very good for building your basics. It is very good for getting a basic understanding of the subject, but it requires more. You cannot simply rely on NCERTs for your entire prelims preparation. And then I diversified my plan. I started incorporating other books, other sources. For NCERT, I had my ready-made notes, so I didn't have to look at the books back again. So I included other reference books, other reference materials. I expanded the horizon of my current affairs studies. So instead of 1 year, I would be preparing 2 years. And I think that is very necessary. UPSC sort of asks contemporary affairs, not just current affairs. So having a span of 2.5 years is not only beneficial for your prelims, but also for your main examination. These were the major changes I made, and I started practicing a lot. Previous year question papers, or wherever I could get questions, I would practice them.
Yeah, the one point you have made, which is very important for those who are preparing for this examination, is that people still have this misconception that current affairs means only they are studying only that particular year. And what UPSC is doing, especially in the preliminary examination, is that they're asking the current affairs from the previous years also, at least 1 or 2 years. What you have mentioned rightly, contemporary affairs.
Contemporary affairs.
Yeah, this is a very good point. I would like all the students to remember these things, because this is a very good point you have made. Next question is, how many hours do you study, or did you study for your preparation?
Initially, it was very less. I was distracted all the time. So initially, when in my initial 2 attempts, when I failed miserably, I must have been putting like 4 or 5 hours a day. In my third attempt, I did realize that I cannot go on with this. So my target was I never studied 15 hours a day. I am very frank with that. My target was to pull out at least 7 or 8 hours productive. And the thing is that if you want 8 hours productive, then you have to sit for 10 hours, because sometimes you will be just distracted. You would want to stretch. Sometimes your train of thought veers into some separate direction. You start thinking about your previous job, family, so many things. So once you start sitting for 10 hours, automatically you can start having 8 hours productive.
Yeah, that's very important, because people think that 8 hours means they are sitting in front of the books for 8 hours. It does not mean 8 hours study, right?
Yeah,
right. So my next question is, students will be writing prelims in the next 100 days, right? This year all the prelims are around the 10th of October, right? What is your advice to them? What should they do now? That is, today is the 3rd of July till 10th of October.
So this year, the preliminary situation is quite unique. After you write your prelims, you wouldn't have much time for the main examination.
Exactly.
So I would say that if there are like 90 days or 100 days left for the preliminary examination, go on with whatever you are studying, your combined study of prelims and mains for the next maybe 1 month. And after you have like 60 days left, completely shut off mains. That is your optional. That means your ethics paper 4 and whatever essay whatever is covered in mains and focus completely on prelims. The last 2 months of your preparation should be dedicated entire to prelims. That's what my opinion is. And don't set it off immediately, because you would have less time for mains. So cover as much as you can for mains and prelims both, and then shut it off for prelims after, let's say, 1 month or so.
Yeah, in a small session, if you are comfortable, you can switch on to Hindi also.
Okay, yes, I'll switch. I'll speak in Hindi from now on.
Right, because we have a large number of Hindi audience also.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Right. My next question is, in the preliminary examination, we have so many sections: polity, economy, history, geography, science and technology, current affairs, international events, government schemes. So, what are your areas of strength from these topics? Because you are from science background, and how did you prepare your areas of weakness?
तो साइंस बैकग्राउंड होने का ये मतलब नहीं है कि मेरी एरिया ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी है. साइंस ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट मेरा वीकनेस था. मैंने कभी बहुत ज्यादा इन डेप्थ प्रिपेयर नहीं किया साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी. जो भी करंट अफेयर्स में आया सिर्फ
You are revealing all your secrets. Be careful.
Yes, sir. My areas of strength were, sir, in fact, I prepared polity very well, क्योंकि मेरा ऑप्शनल भी पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन था, तो एक एडेड बेनिफिट थी मेरे साथ. उसके बाद पॉलिटी से एवरी ईयर यू विल हैव अ रीजनेबल अमाउंट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. वो 2-4 फ्लक्चुएट करेगा, बट 2-4 फ्लक्चुएशन से ज्यादा फ्लक्चुएट नहीं करेगा. अगर आप मेरे से प्रायोरिटी लिस्ट मांगिएगा, तो ये मेरा पर्सनल ओपिनियन है, बट अब जो भी एस्पिरेंट्स सुन रहे हैं, आई वुड से डोंट कंप्लीटली स्टिक टू इट, बट मेरा जो ओपिनियन है वो ये है कि पॉलिटी, मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री, इन्वायरमेंट, इनको आप सबसे पहले प्रायोरिटाइज कीजिए. उसके बाद गो फॉर ज्योग्राफी. उसमें भी फोकस मोर ऑन इंडियन ज्योग्राफी इंस्टेड ऑफ फिजिकल और वर्ल्ड ज्योग्राफी. वो मेंस के लिए ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाएगा मेरे ख्याल से. ज्योग्राफी, एंशिएंट हिस्ट्री, आर्ट एंड कल्चर. और जब मैं कह रहा हूँ पॉलिटी, तो पॉलिटी मतलब ये नहीं है कि सिर्फ पॉलिटी. इट मींस करंट अफेयर्स ऑफ पॉलिटी आल्सो. व्हेन आई एम सेइंग इकोनॉमिक्स, इट डजंट मीन ओनली इकोनॉमिक्स, इट मींस करंट अफेयर्स ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स आल्सो. सेम विद एनवायरनमेंट. इकोनॉमिक्स ये आप सेकंड प्रायोरिटी में रख सकते हैं, एंड थर्ड प्रायोरिटी में आप डाल सकते हैं आर्ट एंड कल्चर. आर्ट एंड कल्चर को आप थर्ड प्रायोरिटी में डाल सकते हैं. साइंस एंड टेक को डाल सकते हैं. सोशल इश्यूज को डाल सकते हैं. और बाकी जो रैंडम न्यूज के फैक्ट्स आते रहते हैं, उनको आप थर्ड कैटेगरी में डाल सकते हैं. बट कोशिश कीजिए कि हर कैटेगरी का जो भी पोर्शन है वो एक रीजनेबल लेवल तक प्रिपेयर हो जाए. बट ये जो 2-4 एरियाज हैं, पॉलिटी हो गया, मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री हो गया, एनवायरनमेंट हो गया, और मे बी इकोनॉमिक्स आल्सो, इनको अच्छे से प्रिपेयर करना बहुत जरूरी है.
That's a very good suggestion, because you have to identify the areas where you are going to focus more. That's a very good suggestion, where you have to get maximum questions right also. Right?
Yes, sir.
So
yes.
My next question is, how many questions normally you attempted in your prelims?
So मेरा अटेम्प्ट हमेशा काफी कम रहा था. I would attempt normally about 83-84 के आसपास. Some people 90-95 के ऊपर करते हैं, but मेरा हमेशा 83-84. I had a reason behind that, but मैं 83-84 के आसपास ही अटेम्प्ट करता था.
Right. So what is the reason why you have attempted somewhat less compared to others?
So रीजन ये था, बिकॉज जब मैंने क्वेश्चन पेपर प्रैक्टिस किए, तो कई सारे क्वेश्चन पेपर प्रैक्टिस करने के बाद आई केम टू रियलाइज दैट आई हैड एन एक्यूरेसी रेट व्हिच वाज राउंड अबाउट मेरे अराउंड अबाउट 17-20% क्वेश्चंस गलत होते थे. एंड दिस यू विल ओनली कम टू नो जब आप बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन पेपर्स प्रैक्टिस कीजिएगा, और वो 15 से 20 के बीच में फ्लक्चुएट करता था. तो आई फेल्ट कि अगर लेट्स से मैं 80 करेक्ट कर रहा हूँ, तो मतलब मैं 60 सही कर रहा हूँ. उसमें अगर 20% भी उसका 64 सही कर रहा हूँ, उसमें 64 सही कर रहा हूँ, एंड 16 गलत कर रहा हूँ. सो दैट पुट्स मी इन अ वेरी स्वीट स्पॉट. उसके बाद मैंने रियलाइज किया जैसे मैं अटेम्प्ट बढ़ाता हूँ, वो मैं ज्यादा रिस्क जोन में जाने लगता हूँ. ये मेरा अपना यूनिक एक्सपीरियंस है. आई डोंट सजेस्ट यू गो स्ट्रेट अवे फॉर दिस, बट आप पता कर लीजिए कि आपकी एक्यूरेसी रेट कितनी है. वो नॉर्मली एक फिगर के राउंड अबाउट फ्लक्चुएट करेगी.
That's a very good suggestion. You have to practice and find out what is your success rate. On the basis of that, you can attempt the questions in the UPSC examination. That's a very scientific way of doing things.
There is one thing which there is one trick I would want to tell students. ये trick मैं use करता था. So whenever I am attempting a question paper, I would have a pen in my hand and last में एक rough page होता है. So if I skip the question, I would draw a line. if I skipped another question, another line, 5 क्वेश्चन स्किप किए तो 1 2 3 4 क्रॉस, फिर 5 और स्किप किए तो 1 5 क्वेश्चन और स्किप किए तो 1 2 3 4 क्रॉस। और जब भी मैं कोई रिस्की क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट कर रहा हूँ जिसका आंसर मेरे को 100% नहीं पता है, 50% पता है, तो उसमें भी मैंने आई वुड कीप काउंटिंग कि अभी तक कितने रिस्की अटेम्प्ट किए। सो व्हाट वुड हैपन कि मैं क्वेश्चन नंबर 70 पे पहुंचूंगा एंड आई वुड सी कि अभी तक मैंने 15 रिस्की क्वेश्चंस अटेम्प्ट कर दिए हैं। दैट मींस व्हाटएवर हैपेंस, नो मोर रिस्की अटेम्प्ट्स। तो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि लोग अंत में पहुंचते हैं और उनको रियलाइज होता है ऑल ऑफ अ सडन दैट वी हैव अटेम्प्टेड अ लॉट ऑफ रिस्की क्वेश्चंस which we were not sure. So always keep a count how much risk you have already taken, and based on that calculate how much risk you can take further in the future. Keep this count in your head by ticking those lines.
That's a very good suggestion. So what have you learned from your failures in the preliminary examination?
So failing in preliminary examination hurts a lot, क्योंकि फिर उसके बाद अब थोड़ा सा you feel aimless. You don't have anything because the main exam is still, the next preliminary exam is still a year away, and sort of things like that. What I learned when I failed in preliminary examination was that I could have put the blame on anything, whether it was luck or the type of question paper. Normally people would give you this argument, this year the question paper was of this sort, that is why I prepared in. None of these arguments work. You have to own your failures. I lagged here, I lagged here, I lagged here. You have to devise a strategy and then start working again. And one thing which I would suggest candidates very strongly, that after you have already prepared for 2 years or 3 years, a sort of inertia sets in. आप में एक inertia आ जाती है, आप अपना strategy change नहीं करना चाहते हैं फिर, क्योंकि आपको लगता है कि 2-3 साल से तो यही, but don't let that happen. जब भी आपको लगे कि इससे काम नहीं बन रहा है, change your strategy, नया strategy use करें.
That's a very good suggestion again. You must be flexible with your preparation.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yeah. So the next question is, when you started your preparation, how much time did you devote for prelims and mains separately?
When I started my preparation, it was going on simultaneously. 16, my attempt in 2016 was very unprepared, sort of. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting huge success, but I was expecting some success. I was hoping at least prelims to clear ho jaye, but wo bhi nahi hua. When I used to do combined studies, it would be like this. Morning till 12 o'clock, morning, I used to get up early. I used to get up at 5:30 in the morning. Till 12 o'clock, it used to be mains, and second half would be prelims. That's how I divided the ratio.
That's a good thing. And did you ever face any self-doubts in the preparation?
Every day. I cannot emphasize this enough. Every day I had this self-doubt. It would come for 15 minutes, then I would counter it. I would sit down, think, evaluate myself, contemplate, and then I would counter it and then start again. You have to keep yourself motivated every day. That self-doubt is going, even after you clear the examination, you will be in doubt. Is it my roll number? Is it my name? You will cross-check 4 times. Yes, so that self-doubt is going to stay there.
Okay, then how did you overcome those kind of pessimistic situations in your life?
Sir, I used to self-motivate myself, but I was very grateful to have a very supportive family and friends. I would say people ki, yes, aapko self-doubt to aayega, but what you can do is that, see, it's like shooting an arrow in the dark. You don't know where you are heading towards. It's simply keep on going. Destination ka pata nahi hota hai. But keep evaluating yourself. अगर आप अपने आप को बार-बार evaluate करते हैं, let's say I used to write answers with Pavan sir, so that sort of gave me an evaluation ki where do I stand actually in this huge crowd. That if you are doing reasonably well, so you always get motivated ki okay, a little bit of more improvement is needed. Other than that, your family, your friends, exercise regularly. That clears your mind, that keeps you motivated. Physical benefits apart, exercise has a lot of mental and emotional benefits.
You used to walk a lot, I think, walking?
I used to go for running every day in the morning.
Yeah.
That was almost every day.
Yeah, that's a good thing also. So the next question is, you are from science background. How did you develop your writing skills?
My writing skills were very poor. Sir actually helped me develop a lot of my writing skills ideas, and so I had a format in which I would write my answers. One thing which I used to do very regularly was that there would be model answers. But what happens normally is that if the question asks for 200 words, the model answer would run into 600 words. So you have to filter out things, and it's not possible to write 600 words in a span of 7 minutes or 8 minutes. So I would take the topper's answer sheet and I would take my answer sheet and I would compare them. I would sit with the highlighter, I would compare each and every point, and I would extract information from their answer sheets. Sometimes if I top the examination, which happened a couple of times, then I would pick up the rank two's answer sheet and then I would again compare my answers. That helped me develop a unique style in writing. And plus, with experience and having a good mentor is always very beneficial. So that's how I developed my answer skills.
Okay. The next question is, in your entire UPSC journey, what do you think is good for the students, studying solo or having a group of people, like-minded people?
So I was more or less a solo player, but if you have a group, don't make it a huge group. Make it a small group of 2 or 3 dedicated people. Once you make the group huge, group dynamics comes into play, and you don't want to get bothered with all that unnecessary drama and emotional thing which goes on in the group. You want to be focused single-handedly on the core tasks. So find people who wouldn't create that sort of an environment and who are equally motivated as you are. Although I was a solo player, but I see no problem in having a group for preparation.
So you prepared mostly on your own only?
Yes, sir. I had a couple of good friends. None of them had public administration optional, except for one of my cousins. And so I would discuss GS with them. But it's not like I was living with them. I was living in Rohini. One of them was living in Gurgaon. Another one was living in Rajendra Nagar. So it was a very scattered thing.
Right. The next question is, you got into IPS already. Then why did you again prepare for the IAS?
So that is this suggestion was also given to me by my mentors. So Pavan sir was one of the first persons to throw this idea to me. And I was very satisfied with IPS. When I was doing my training or when I was working in Kerala, I was very satisfied with IPS se. But one of the reasons मैंने IAS इसलिए लिया क्योंकि, like I said, it's your choice. आप specialist बनना चाहते हैं, आप generalist बनना चाहते हैं. I felt और IAS में भी specialization का scope है. अब ऐसा नहीं है कि पहले की तरह है. यहाँ पे there are so many senior officers who are specialists in some area or the other area. So that way I thought, and I did feel that मेरी rank 166 थी when I got into IPS.
Yeah.
That urge, I deserve better. I have worked so that I had to say, okay, no, I got the rank, but I know deep within myself that I deserve better.
In fact, I remember, when you came to me about, whether to take the examination again or not, I said that you should take it and you must prove. You don't have to prove anything to anyone else. You have to prove it to yourself. You are capable of it. And I'm glad that, you have proved yourself. Right?
Thank you, sir.
That was a really good thing, So my next question here is, how did you prepare specifically for mains?
So for mains, like I said, it's your static portion plus current affairs, जो कि 2 साल तक minimum का होना चाहिए. And then you practice answer writing. So I would practice answer writing, and I had developed a style of answer writing जिसमें there would be a mix of, I would write my answers in point forms. I would number those points instead of putting bullet marks or hashtags or arrow marks, and I would use diagrams and flowcharts. Although not, I see people using diagrams and flowcharts wherever and whenever they can, but I had certain rules for using them, and a lot of it is how you make your answer broad-based. So it's not simply about the depth, it's broad-based. And the most important aspect about answer writing, especially for mains, is that once you give an argument.
How did you prepare specifically for ethics and essay?
For essay specifically, I did not do anything extra. I had my current affairs, I had my public administration. By the way, public administration will help you both in ethics and essay. I did write a few answers and discussed it with Pavan sir for both in 2018 and 2019. And I made progress accordingly. So in essay, what you need to do is it needs to be eye-catching and it needs to tell a story. As I had been told many times by sir also, it needs to tell a story. I think that some people have their natural style of writing. I did not want to distort my natural style of writing for essay specifically. So whatever inputs I got, I tried to fit it within the framework of my natural style of writing. For ethics, what I did was that I had notes, myself prepared notes, and there were certain books available in the market and case studies. Case studies were also developed. I have discussed them with Pavan sir, and my notes also were extensively taken from Pavan sir's guidance. I would prepare those notes. I would sort of memorize some definitions, although I wouldn't suggest that you memorize everything, but some key definitions could be memorized, and then develop a habit, a structure of writing case studies in ethics or answers in ethics. Ethics answers are not completely different from GS answers. They go on the same direction, same trajectory, but the knowledge base you use in ethics is slightly different. तो अगर आपको ऐसा लिखता है कि एथिक्स में कुछ अलग टाइप का लिखना है जो कि जीएस में हम ऐसा नहीं लिखते हैं, तो ऐसा नहीं है. जीएस जैसे ही आंसर्स होते हैं. ओके, केस स्टडी में भी जो एक सेट फॉर्मेट है, आई वुड सजेस्ट बेटर कि आप वही सेट फॉर्मेट फॉलो करें. प्रोज, कॉन्स, बेनिफिट्स, लॉसेस का, और फिर लास्ट में अपना एक बैलेंस्ड ओपिनियन दे.
So for the benefit of our students, what is your score in general studies in last attempt?
Sir, I don't remember. I don't remember it right now.
Yeah, no problem. It's not a problem at all. There's no problem. I know it is very difficult to remember. Yeah, it's a long time back. So
I had very good marks in GS paper 2. That's what I remember. GS paper 2, I had very good marks. In ethics, I had 142, I think. 142.
142 is a very good score. 142 is a very good score. Right? People will give anything for 142. Right? It's a very good score.
And rest of the papers, I don't remember actually.
Right. There's no problem. 142 is a damn good score. Right?
Yes.
So,
yes, sir.
Right. So then, how did you prepare for interview, personality test?
For personality test, I did give a couple of mock interviews here and there. And other than that, I had discussions with Pavan sir also about how do we go about preparing for personality test. Normally, when personality tests happen, interview happens, the budget is just out and the economic survey is just out. So I would suggest that you go ahead and attend some sessions dedicated specifically to budget and economic survey. And so what I would say is that a lot of people are hesitant. They lack this confidence of speaking. So if you have friends who are preparing for civil services and who have not had the chance of reaching till interview, catch hold of them, make 5 of them sit and teach them. And try to speak as fluently as you can. They will also benefit and you will get into the habit of public speaking. That public speaking, that confidence is very important. And once you enter that interview room, don't feel very judged. No one there is superhuman. All the candidates sitting there are exactly like you. They have had same emotional upheavals, same stress, same difficult roads ahead of them. So don't feel that I am not good or that person looks very qualified, he has such and such degree. Just go ahead, and it's easier said than done, but maintain your calm. I know it's very easier said than done, but maintain your calm.
Right. Okay, let me ask you this question, which everyone wants to know. What is the secret of your success?
My secret, sir, it's a very difficult question to answer. I cannot name, sir. There's not one single thing.
Whatever, 3-4 things, no problem.
3-4 things. Persistence.
Yeah,
persistence is very important. B, having good mentors. It is very important to have good mentors. C, you can never. There's always scope for improvement. This exam, if you feel that you cleared this exam by luck or chance, then it's simply not possible. You cannot get lucky 11 times, 10 times, 9 times in main examination, once in prelims, and then also in interview. You write 9 papers and You can get lucky maybe once or twice, but if you have not put in that hard work, luck will not carry you very far. And having very supportive family and friends, that was very important for me to clear this examination.
Yeah, one more question that is common in the minds of the students is it necessary that they should belong to what I would say very good academic background and family background to clear this examination?
None of them are absolutely necessary. None of them are, as a matter of fact, at all necessary. See, UPSC is a great leveler. If I just look at my batch, अगर मैं अपने batch of IAS को देखूं, या फिर last batch जिसमें मैं IPS था, if I look at that batch, तो वहाँ पे ऐसे भी लोग हैं जो ऑक्सफोर्ड से पढ़ के आए हैं या सिंगापुर से पढ़ के आए हैं. ऐसे भी लोग हैं जिन्होंने अपनी मदर टंग में एक सरकारी कॉलेज अटेंड किया है अपने किसी छोटे से डिस्ट्रिक्ट में. झारखंड में कहीं एक छोटा सा कॉलेज अटेंड किया है. दोनों कैटेगरी के लोग हैं. ऐसे भी लोग हैं जो IITs और एम्स से पढ़ के आए हैं, और ऐसे भी लोग हैं जो किसी प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशन से पढ़ के आए हैं. तो वो कंप्लीट मिक्सचर मिलेगा आपको. तो अगर आपको कोई कहता है कि ये एक पर्टिकुलर टाइप के लोग के लिए ही बना है, तो आप मुझे बताइएगा, मैं 10 एग्जांपल दे दूंगा जो कि कंप्लीटली ऑपोजिट होंगे. It's a complete mixture of all kinds of people inside the service.
That's a very good point you have made. It gives a lot of motivation to thousands of people who think that this is an elite service and it requires only the so-called elite background, right? So
yes,
yeah, my next question here is that you have undergone training for both IPS and IAS, right? Which one is more difficult?
The IPS training, hands down. The physical rigor required in IPS training. I would get up at 4:30 in the morning. सुबह 4:30 बजे उठता था मैं. 5:20 fall in होती थी, and 5:20 till 6 in the evening almost on my feet. कभी इंडोर क्लासेस, कभी रनिंग, एंड इट्स नॉट योर रेगुलर रनिंग. वहां पे IPS में रनिंग होती है 8 किलोमीटर्स, 10 किलोमीटर्स, कभी 25 किलोमीटर्स का रूट मार्च, कभी 40 किलोमीटर्स हॉर्स राइडिंग, बैटल ऑब्स्टिकल, फायरिंग वेपन्स. इट टेक्स अ टोल ऑन यू. IPS training, although the IAS training is very academic, but physical rigor, what I have felt and I have seen it, that physical strength is directly related to your emotional strength. If you break down physically, you break down mentally, emotionally. The best of the people, the strongest of the people, if they are disturbed physically, they break down emotionally. So it makes you emotionally and physically tough, very tough.
Yeah, even I remember whenever I would go to this National Police Academy, Hyderabad, to see our students, I would first always go to the second gate, which is next to the hospital. Right? You know that,
Yes,
it is always full.
It's always, the hospital is always, I was in the hospital for 12 days in NPA.
Yeah, so that is the thing. So the next question is, this is again slightly sensitive question, but people want to know, have you seen corruption in administration?
Yes, sir.
A very good answer, very straightforward answer, right? You have seen it.
Yes,
right?
I have seen it.
Right. Okay. So let us come to optional public administration, right? So first of all, why did you choose public administration?
See, one of the reasons why you choose an optional is that you can get a good mentor. That is of course there. Other than that, sir, I think that public administration has a very good overlap with GS. So when you prepare monetary policy and fiscal policy, your economics portion, GS paper 3 portion, a lot of it gets prepared. Similarly, public sector units, disinvestment, all of these means that regulatory bodies. So आप automatically SEBI, RBI, ये सारी regulatory bodies को prepare कर रहे होते हैं. And जब आप optional के level पे prepare कर रहे हो, तो GS level पे वो काफी अच्छा prepare हो जाता है. Economics cover हो गया. Polity बहुत बड़े large हिस्से. Polity in fact completely cover हो जाएगा. As a matter of fact, completely cover हो जाएगा. GS paper 2 almost cover हो जाएगा आपका. As a matter of fact, कई बार public administration paper 2 के question आपको polity जैसे लगेंगे. Which and polity के questions आपको GS public administration paper 2 की जैसे लगेंगे. Polity completely cover हो जाएगा. Social issues बहुत large extent तक cover हो जाएंगे. Self help groups, civil societies, NGOs, ये सारी चीजें बहुत large extent तक cover हो जाएंगी. कुछ India after independence के portions, economic planning, 5-year plans, कैसे ओपनिंग ऑफ इकोनॉमी हुई आफ्टर 1991 रिफॉर्म्स, ये सारी भी कवर हो जाएंगी. सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स, मिलेनियम डेवलपमेंट गोल्स, ये जो डेवलपमेंट वाला पोर्शन है ये भी कवर हो जाएगा. सो आई डोंट थिंक कोई ऐसा ऑप्शन है जो इतना ओवरलैप देता है आपको जितना पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन देता है. दिट्स अ वेरी गुड रीजन टू चूज पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. द सेकंड reason being having a good mentor, and the third reason being availability of quality material, क्योंकि there is ample amount of quality material in public administration, काफी है. एंड हाँ, लास्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, एथिक्स का बहुत बड़ा पोर्शन कवर हो जाएगा, खास करके ये गवर्नेंस, आरटीआई, सिटीजन चार्टर, सीबीआई, सीबीसी, ये सारी एथिक्स का बहुत बड़ा. इतना ओवरलैप आपको शायद ही किसी ऑप्शनल में मिले. एथिक्स भी कवर हो रहा है यहाँ पर.
Yeah, my next question here is, you are from a science background, right? And
Yes, sir.
Did you ever find public administration a difficult subject?
I did, sir. Initially, I did find it difficult because a lot of it didn't make any sense to me.
Right.
How can you have? I was like, these people have been working on one single problem: how to motivate someone. They have 20 different theories, and none of them actually work.
Exactly.
So, so that means all of their life works is a waste. If you, after working for, let's say, 1940s, 1950s, when the behavioral movement started, it's been 70 years. You cannot come up with one foolproof theory. And when you work with science, you work with certainty. It becomes a very difficult thing to digest that, okay, this is another stream of studies which does not work like science.
Yeah,
you cannot have.
You are making me feel depressed, but it is true, right?
It is true.
It is
so
true.
that's why I used to feel they have been working for 120 years or 140 years, and they don't have one single theory which they can claim it's 100% foolproof correct.
Exactly. Yeah. You find it odd, very odd.
Yeah,
Right.
I found it very odd, sir. I found it very odd because so I used to think, okay, so this person is also saying the same thing. This person is also saying the same thing. Why are we studying today? Just make it a theory, and one person is enough. Why do I? It gets difficult to get into that frame of mind, especially coming from science background, computer science background, and mathematics background. It really gets difficult to get into that frame of mind.
Then you have got very good marks in public administration. How do
Yes, sir. 302 was. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
how do you explain this kind of irony?
It's simply hard work. See, coming from science backgrounds, I don't want to say this, but it has its pitfalls and advantages. Pitfalls I already mentioned. You find it very difficult to understand things, and it has its advantages that you try and develop algorithms. That, okay, if such a thing comes, I'll do this, then I'll do this, then I'll do this, then I'll do this. That brings uniformity in your approach, in your answer, in your method of thinking. And I did a lot of answer writing. I have written answers with Pavan sir, I think 3 times in 2017, 2018, and 2019. And every time I kept on improving. I could see it in my marks. Every time I kept on improving in my answer skills. So that hard work has to reflect somewhere. It reflected in my marks.
Yeah, you got more than 300 marks, I think, in public administration.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes.
And in fact, you and Pradeep, both of you were there in the same class only. Pradeep.
I did not meet him back then, but we were in the same class.
But both your names were there in that top 10 markers list.
Top 10 markers list. I remember. So it's a very good sample space. When you're writing answers with Pavan sir, all the people who have some shot at clearing the examination with public administration are there. So if you can do well in that sample space, then you will automatically do well in the UPSC sample space.
So then my next question here is, you have prepared for these 4 years. Your journey is for 4 years, right? How did you maintain consistency? How did you maintain the consistency?
So initially it was not consistent. The consistency started coming after my second failure, I would say. Right, so right. The first two attempts, I took it, I don't know, either I thought that I am very smart, which was a stupid mistake to make, or I did not assess the gravity of the situation, the scope, the scale of the examination very well. Either of these two things, first 2 years I wasn't consistent. I would I used to study in patches. So I would study for 7 days or 8 days, then take a break of 3 days or 4 days, then again study for 10 days. So that doesn't help. Maybe you can take a break once in a while in 10 days or 15 days, but you need to have that consistency. ये consistency sir third attempt के बाद, third attempt जिसमें मेरा clear, मतलब second attempt के बाद, when I failed for the second time, तब ये consistency मेरे अंदर आई. And it's difficult. दिन में 7-8 घंटे टेबल चेयर पे बैठना is really difficult, but it's important also, because when you're writing the main examination, you're writing for 6 hours, and you're writing in a government school, the seats are not comfortable.
Yeah.
So you develop that physical stamina also.
That's a good point. Next thing is that you have studied a lot of public administration. Did the knowledge of public administration help you in your job profession?
Yes, sir. It does help. It does help a lot. So I'll give it. I'll give an example for that.
Yeah.
We are having this vaccination drive right now.
Right.
And Jharkhand, the Dumka, where I'm posted, it's a typical Santhal Pargana district. There are 6 districts in the Santhal Pargana in Jharkhand, and there is a lot of hesitancy among the tribals to take vaccination. So when you try and develop a campaign about how to motivate tribal people to take vaccination, a lot of what you have studied in public administration will come in handy. How do you prepare campaigns for that? How do you go about from it? Because people will run away. The villages are deep inside the forest. It's a huge forest area. If you go to the village, people will simply run away. So you cannot simply chase them, catch hold of them, and then bring them. That's not how it's done in 21st century. Maybe there was a time for that, but so that's there. Similarly, how do you negotiate if something is told to you which you are uncomfortable doing? So like when I was working with the oxygen task force, बहुत सारे strict rules थे कि किसको oxygen मिलेगा, किसको oxygen नहीं मिलेगा. Industries will never get the oxygen. It will only go to the medical suppliers. But there are industries which need oxygen. उनको अपने furnace के लिए, अपनी welding के लिए चाहिए. And so sometimes you might get instructions कि okay, we have to look at this industry favorably. So how do your negotiation skills, what do you tell people on the ground? What logic you use? Public administration definitely comes in handy.
Yeah.
And Panchayati Raj mein to bahut,
Obviously,
Panchayati Raj basically because of public administration.
And one more question. This is from ethics point of view also. Did
Yes,
you
sir.
face any kind of conflict between legality and morality in your job?
When I was working with Corona, even in vaccination, I have felt that.
Right.
Let's say if you tell, I will give an example.
Yeah.
It's not a very big example, but it's a small example. I don't want to point out very huge issues here. So let's say there is a person who has a ration card and he is completely not willing to take the vaccination, and he's simply, someone has brainwashed him, or he has seen a WhatsApp message or whatever. He is simply not going to take the vaccination. How do you convince that person? Whatever you do, he is not ready to take the vaccination. So then you use some tactics. Like, अगर आप vaccine नहीं लोगे तो आपका ration card block हो जाएगा, आपको मनरेगा का job का, which is not legal. You cannot block his vaccination, his Manrega card, because he has not taken a vaccination. But there is a dilemma. You have to give him the vaccine, and he is absolutely not ready. So maybe fear, maybe something like that.
Yeah, this is a very good example. I think students can write these kind of things in the ethics, case studies also.
Yes,
definitely. Sir. That's a very good example. So my next question is, for those who are starting fresh now for this UPSC preparation, what is your advice to them?
Sir, I would say go with an open mind. If you're writing, I think whoever is starting fresh will write the examination in 2022, because 2021 is gone now. 3 months you cannot prepare for prelims.
Right.
Take an integrated approach towards prelims and mains. Don't be in a hurry to complete your optional as the first thing. You will find time for optional. But in the initial phases of your preparation, do your basics and do some more, because since NCRT say people might have different opinions. I have this opinion, it doesn't cut. Since NCRT say you won't be able to get there. And take 2 subjects at a time. because studying same subject for the entire day can get monotonous. 2 subjects at a time, study or focus on your current affairs, and you have time. If you're writing the examination for 2022, you have ample time. Go at a steady pace. Don't be in a hurry to complete the syllabus. Even some of it is left, you can complete it at the last moment, or you can skip it. But whatever you do, it has to be foolproof.
Yeah, another psychological aspect here is what should students do to overcome this tension, uncertainty, insecurity in the whole process?
Uh, uh, I think that the insecurity has an important role to play also, because it helps you develop as an individual. Uncertainty, when you get inside the service, there will be always uncertainty, and there will be a lot of pressure on you. Because there is going to be a lot of pressure on you when you start working on the ground, because we want results immediately nowadays.
Yeah.
So the best you can do to avoid these things is that you can ignore these thoughts as much as I know it's not an easy thing to do,
Right.
but these thoughts will come. Take a break once in a while. Week may then go and hang out with your friends, talk to your parents, talk to your very close friends, exercise again. It diverts your mind. It's like therapy for a lot of people. So and have a good mentor. The mentor will always tell you, keep you motivated, and show you the right direction. That is very important.
Did you do any yoga or meditation like that, like most of students do?
Towards the end, I started doing some meditation, because even though I was exercising, I felt that I had some issues. So I did not take any professional help, but on my own, towards interview, I started doing meditation. It was not very regular though.
Okay. My next question is those who have already written this examination 3 times, 4 times, they have attended interview also 2, 3 times. What should they do?
They should sit and analyze what went wrong.
Yeah.
They should, whatever they can recall, what they have written in mains or their optional paper, they should look at answers, toppers answer sheets, sit down, make a point by point comparison. Did he make an extra diagram? Did he write 3 extra dimensions? Did he use a very good flowchart, which I have not used so far? This evaluation needs to be done very honestly. If you are stuck in the mindset that I missed the cutoff because I was unlucky, then it's going to be very difficult. You have to own up responsibility and say that I will continue to be unlucky for the rest of my life, and despite that, I have to clear this examination. Don't count on luck for clearing this examination. Talk to your elders and mentors and do a very serious introspection, and don't be hesitant to change your methods. Don't be hesitant to start fresh and do things from the beginning.
Yeah, that means they must be willing to accept their mistakes and be flexible to rectify them.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, we are coming to the end of our, interview. Towards the end, I will ask 1 or 2 questions from my side.
Yes, sir.
We have finished all the questions from the student side. How did you feel when you heard that your name was there first in IPS, then in IAS? What was your feelings?
When I got selected for the first time, I was very superstitious. So there was this thing in my mind that if I check my result on my phone, whenever I check my result on my phone, I never cleared the examination. So I always check the result on my iPad. Okay. So I got a text that the results are out. So I opened up my iPad. I started, the UPSC page didn't load. Meanwhile, I got a text from one of my close friends that you have cleared the examination, but he did not tell me my rank. Okay. So I texted him, tell me my rank. That's more important. Yeah. He told me my rank. I looked at it. That moment is priceless. Your mind is processing so many emotions, so many thoughts. You are somewhere lost, and then you see your name, you see the roll number. It takes at least 5 seconds to process that, and then you call up your parents or your loved ones, whoever you want to call. Then you call up that person, and that peace lasts only for 5 to 7 minutes, because after 7 or 8 minutes, your phone will start ringing and it won't stop ringing for the next 1 week. You will get so many calls and so many messages that you will be fed up for that. So that 7 minutes of peace, that's very important. The second time when I cleared it, actually, the results came out in August. I was preparing for a parade for the governor. So I was in the field practicing for the governor's parade. I had my rifle in my hand and I got a message. I looked at that. The thrill was not so much because I was somehow secure in my career and everything. But and I did expect a rank second time. I knew I would get a rank. I was certain of that. I didn't know I would get 42 or 80 or 50 or 2 or 10. I didn't know the rank, but I was certain of getting a rank the second time.
So second time it was less of excitement or thrill.
Yes, sir.
First time
Yes.
it was more. Right, right.
Yes, sir.
Right, right. So I think I have almost finished with all my questions, right?
Yes, sir.
And once again, thank you very much for coming onto this platform. And
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for
getting the
inviting me.
students.
Yes,
I
sir.
know you are extremely busy. You are extremely busy. As I was telling in the beginning, also, you are posted in Chief Minister's constituency only. So
Yes, sir.
it becomes that much more difficult for you because you have to be there on your toes all the time.
Yes,
In spite
sir.
of the fact that you are so busy, you are kind enough to come onto this platform and guide the students. I sincerely, express my, deep gratitude, for coming on this platform and guiding the students. And I wish you best of luck in whatever you do, because when people like you are pretty, I can see them. Those who are very so sincere and honest, I know that the future of the country is in good hands. That much.
Thank you very much, sir. So thank you for those kind words.
Right, right. And thank you very much. And we shall hope to keep up this, kind of initiative in the future also.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
I'm sure, he will always be there for us, definitely. That much I can definitely say with conviction. You have not,
Definitely, sir.
you have not said no even once in the last 2 years. Whenever I asked you,
Yes, sir.
you're always there. And that is what I like about all you people. In spite of getting into services, none of you have really changed. That is what I can see.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Right? None of you have changed. Just keep that, humble attitude, down to earth personality, and you will definitely be successful. I'm
Yes, sir.
expecting a lot more from you. People like you. I'm expecting a lot more in your
Thank you,
service.
sir.
I'm sure you'll be doing the country really proud with your services. Right?
Yes.
And thank you very much once again.